left at the airport. A Cherry Creek High School football player not allowed on his team's flight after TSA finds a small knife in his bag.
The way this happened should not have happened to my child.
Well, tonight his mother is furious her son was stranded without a call from his coaches.
Had he been hurt or had he gone missing, there would have been no one to answer for it.
Marijuana sales boomed in Colorado during the pandemic, but sales of medical are down.
This is a real problem.
How this could impact patients who need it the most.
The power of donuts.
Donuts make everybody happy.
Coloradans turning food waste into a token of appreciation for healthcare workers.
We begin with storms sweeping through the Denver metro.
All right, I want to take a look now at the light show over downtown skyline from our mile-high camera. So much lightning from these storms. And this is what it actually looked like from the roof of our television studios here at 123 East Spear.
What an incredible sight. A good amount of this rain with these storms as well. People attending tonight's Fish concert at Dick's Sporting Goods Park had to take cover amid the downpour. Now, these storms also delayed kickoff of the Buffs game at Folsom Field.
All right, first off, Chief Meteorologist Mike Nelson. These came through quickly tonight, Mike.
Oh, they did, and what an amazing light show. Look at this behind me. This is the camera out at DIA. Almost constant flashes of lightning. For a weather forecaster, this has been really something to watch. I have greatly enjoyed the light show over the last hour or so. But let me bring you up to date with the radar. The thunderstorm activity started to the north of us and moved itself down along I-25 over the last couple of hours and is now pushing through the Denver metro area. We've had one warning that has just expired at 10 o'clock. That was out by DIA. The brunt of the heaviest action is moving to the south of us now and will continue to do so. It's forming along a cold front that's actually moving in. That's going to bring us a slight bit of relief. Instead of 95 to 100 like we had today over the northeast, tomorrow is going to be a few degrees less hot. So the storms will be ending by midnight. Not quite as hot tomorrow, but then very hot Sunday and Monday. Hope you had some rain because there's little or no rain coming up in the 7-day. I'll have full details in about 20 minutes.
All right, what a night. Thank you, Mike. Well, the mother is furious tonight after her son was left at the airport by Cherry Creek football coaches and school leaders.
Now, this happened after TSA found in his backpack a small knife that he says he forgot to take out.
Well, Denver 7's Rob Harris talked to the player's mother, who says there's no excuse for leaving her son alone at the airport.
Well, I'm just sitting here.
Bryson Sneed thought he'd be with his football team en route to Ohio for their big game this weekend. Instead, he found himself here. Eventually.
So when I got here, Mom dropped me off, and then I met up with my friends, and then I got to the security line. I took off all my stuff. I put everything on my basket and everything, and I slid it through.
After Bryson walked through the TSA scanner, he was told by an agent his bag needed to be searched. He looked up at the screen and realized he had forgotten about a small knife in one of the pockets.
When the guy took it out, like, we were just having a normal conversation. He was telling me, like, how cool it was, and, like, we were just laughing about the situation.
Bryson says the agent helped him mail the knife to his home address, then screened him again, at which point he was allowed to rejoin his team and make his way to his gate for his flight, excited with his teammates for the weekend ahead. But then
15 minutes before I'm supposed to board, all of a sudden I can't go anymore because of the district.
Bryson says his athletic director told him the district would no longer allow him on the trip because he had a weapon with him. He needed to call his mom to be picked up, who at this point was on the other side of Denver.
So he calls me, and then his voice sounds totally not like Bryson. And so I stop in my tracks, and I'm like, what's wrong? What's happening? What's going on? Because I'm thinking maybe something's happened at the airport. I was literally shaking. I was upset, I was angry, I was hurt.
Bryson says he spent hours alone at the airport, trying to find his own way back to the trains and security to wait for his mom to come pick him up. And that, his mom says, is why she's so angry at the school district.
At the end of the day, I'm not denying that my son had a knife. I'm in education. That is a weapon. This is his first time ever being in trouble. So if we're going by the policy, one of the things is a warning, not to be told you couldn't go on a trip and then left at the airport unattended for hours. I gave my child to Cherry Creek and trusted them with his care, and they let me down.
I reached out to administrators with Cherry Creek Schools to try to learn how and why the decision was made to leave Bryson here at DIA. A spokesperson for the district says that having a knife at DIA was a violation of both district policy and TSA regulations, and they will investigate to see if next steps are needed. For Denver 7, I'm Rob Harris.
All right, as Rob said, they're late this evening. We got a statement from Cherry Creek Schools. It says a Cherry Creek High School student athlete was excused from an out-of-state team trip based on initial TSA evidence of possession of a knife at Denver International Airport by TSA personnel, a violation of CCSD policy and TSA regulations. The school, it says, contacted a parent to inform them the student would not be allowed on the trip and needs to be picked up at the airport. We intend to fully investigate the situation.
In Weld County, a 16-year-old boy has non-life-threatening injuries after he was shot during a road rage shooting. Now, this happened just after 10 this morning on US 85 between Platteville and Gilcrest. Investigators have not revealed what led up to the shooting. Tonight, the sheriff's office is looking for 2 suspects. They are believed to be driving a dark blue Toyota Tundra with unknown license plates. Anyone with information about the shooting should call the Weld County Sheriff or Northern Colorado Crime Stoppers.
So tonight we're waiting to learn more about a police shooting that injured a man in Fort Collins. That man is expected to survive. It unfolded about noon in the area of East Stewart Street and LeMay Avenue. Officers had just arrested a man on a felony warrant for burglary who had run from an apartment. And then when officers returned to that apartment, they say they found several other people, including a man with a gun. And at some point, an officer fired his weapon, wounding that man. Officials have not said what led to the shooting or where the man was shot. A critical response team, though, is investigating.
A new development in the death of Elijah McClain. His autopsy report has been amended. McClain died in 2019 after he was put in a carotid hold by Aurora police and injected with a large amount of ketamine by Aurora fire paramedics. Colorado Public Radio first broke the news on the amended autopsy report, which Denver 7 was able to independently confirm. However, we don't know at this point what exactly was changed. McClain's cause and manner of death were ruled as undetermined on the original report. We spoke with a former district attorney who says amending the report is rare.
Well, the one thing, amending it, okay, that's rare. Amending it months or potentially a year after there's been a determination made by the district attorney, that's very rare, and that's, in my opinion, very strange.
Because autopsy reports are public, Colorado Public Radio has filed a lawsuit compelling the coroner to release the amended autopsy. Denver 7 and other local media outlets plan to join that lawsuit.
Well, tonight we're learning more about what the FBI found at the estate of former President Trump. Today, a federal judge ordered the release of an expanded list of what was recovered at Mar-a-Lago. And along with classified and top secret documents, agents also found dozens of folders marked classified, but with nothing inside and no explanation about what might have been there or where they are now. They also found thousands of government records with no classification markings. And this comes as a judge is still deciding whether to grant Trump's request for an independent attorney to review the material seized for potential attorney-client privileged information.
A new hat thrown into the race for Denver mayor. Longtime city council member Debbie Ortega has now filed to replace Mayor Michael Hancock. Ortega joins a growing list of candidates, and you can see their names right there on your screen. They're also listed over on thedenverchannel.com. A Westminster couple has created a routine they rarely miss.
It's a way for them to give back to the men and women who have helped care for so many people. Here's Denver 7's CB Cott.
We've been married 33 years.
Perhaps the last 2 have been the sweetest for Chris and Barry Hubbard.
Donuts make everybody happy, I think.
One by one, this pair fills bins with donuts here at Lamar's Donuts and Coffee in Westminster.
So I started it, but it wasn't long before Barry came on board. And so we've been doing this together now, I want to say at least a year and a half, 2 years now.
Glazed chocolate, sprinkles, all the day's leftovers are taken by Chris and Barry. Donuts that otherwise would be thrown away. The confections, though, aren't for them.
There's a lot of joy in bringing something to people that deserve to have someone acknowledge them for what they're doing.
They're brought to ER workers and first responders every Tuesday and Friday of each week.
Happy Friday!
Hi, welcome.
Double the happiness today.
One of the first stops on Barry's route is always the emergency department of UC Health's Broomfield Hospital, where healthcare workers always line up to get a sweet treat.
It really impacts the whole facility and increases that morale.
And that's all Barry and Chris could hope for. The couple says their weekly deliveries are a way to thank our heroes for all they've done during the pandemic.
They don't get the appreciation that they did at the beginning of COVID, and really that the attention and recognition that they deserve. It's nice to be able to give back.
Now in retirement, this pair is dedicating their time to give back to others. But perhaps these past 2 years of marriage also gave back to them.
I'm lucky that my husband's willing to support me so that I can do things that nurtures my soul.
I'm CB Cotton, Denver 7.
Get used to more of these temperatures, in fact, even hotter over the holiday weekend.
Medical marijuana sales on the way down in Colorado.
This is the lowest they've been since the legalization of rec.
Why this trend is leaving experts concerned.
Plus, the Buffs are back. Year 3 of the Carl Durrell era gets underway at Folsom Field.